Okay, good afternoon and very warm welcome from my side to the first Netcomm Suisse Observatory webinar. Today we're going to speak about consumer behavior in the fashion industry in Switzerland, especially on online markets. My name is Benedkit Zingg and I will be your host for this session. So here very quickly about what's going to happen in the next 20 to 30 minutes. So first of all, I will give you a brief introduction about the Netcomm Suisse Observatory, about the activities that we are carrying out. Then I will present to you the study that we conducted on the fashion market. And then finally, we will close with a short Q&A session. So Netcomm Suisse Observatory is the research unit of the Swiss e-commerce association Netcomm Suisse. We're doing three main research activities. On one side, we do qualitative research by interviewing industry experts and extracting best practices. Then we also do quantitative research by doing surveys with consumers for identifying current trends in e-commerce markets. And then we also organize meeting occasions for expert discussions where industry experts can meet among their peers and share their knowledge and experiences. Now, our webinars are a new format that we are introducing. So this is actually the first ever Netcomm Suisse Observatory webinar. It's a format where we like to share our insights and our knowledge, and in the future we will be joined by industry experts from one side tech companies, but on the other side also from leading brands. The access to our webinars will be free, and I would recommend you and invite you to regularly visit our homepage, netcommswiss.ch, for getting more information around it. Now, our upcoming Netcomm Suisse Observatory activities are: the next webinar will be happening next Wednesday, 29th of April, about the home and living sector. And then on the 6th of May, we will have a webinar on how COVID-19 is affecting Swiss e-commerce. Then for consumer reports, we will on the same day, also on the 6th of May, publish the COVID-19 report. Then on the 11th of May, we will publish our digital behavior study, a very generic one that is giving you some insights about how Swiss consumers behave on digital channels. And then last but not least, on the 25th of May, we will publish our e-health report. Of course, afterwards, there are a few more initiatives and activities coming up, but this is just like to give you an overview about the next 5 to 6 weeks. Now, speaking about myself, to introduce myself to you, I am Benedikt. I am Market Insights Manager at the Netcomm Suisse Observatory. My mission is to create a point of reference for knowledge and insights, where you can come to us and find data to support your decision-making process. Also very happy to have a conversation together with you in case you have some special requests, or in case you have any suggestions for further topics that we should take a look after. Before going into the study, I would like to also say thank you to our partner for the support. This is on one side Swiss Post and Essendia. Thank you very much also for your support. In case you are a Swiss merchant who is selling cross-border, I would definitely recommend to visit e-commerce.essendia.ch to discover more about the services. And then I would also like to thank our research partner ApertaMente for the great support also in this very special period where we have an increased need for data and knowledge, and they are very supportive. Thank you very much, guys. Now let's go into the study. The objective that we have for this study is actually to get insights on how Swiss consumers are using e-commerce for buying their fashion items on one side. On the other side, also how they are adapting to new trends new technologies and new service models. With new service models, I mean in particular omnichannel retailing and subscription services. For this research, we run a online interview, web-based interview, so a questionnaire actually of an average time of 15 minutes, and it was carried out in early February 2020. So we are actually presenting today data that occurred before COVID. Nevertheless, I think it's very valid data, and it will allow you to compare it with the current situation in order to really understand the trends that are happening in the market. So the categories that Swiss consumers within fashion were buying online. So number one, of course, is clothes from current collection, followed by shoes, and followed by clothes from previous collections. What we see here is actually that all different categories in the fashion segment are bought online. Bags are the less pronounced one, since I think there's a strong preference for female consumers, while the use case for male consumers is less pronounced and more particular, probably related to sports, and also probably with a longer term use of the product itself compared to female consumers who enjoy a greater variety of bags as well. So yeah. Now let's have a look about how much Swiss consumers are spending online for fashion. We see that the average consumer spending between 26 and 100 Swiss francs on average per purchase. Nevertheless, there's a polarizing trend between the French and the German part. So for the French part, we see that there's a share in our sample of 22% that was spending more than 200 Swiss francs on average per purchase in 2019, whereas Swiss German consumers seem to be more economical, so with an average spending in a range between 26 and 50 francs. We see also that 1 in 6 consumers is at least shopping once a week fashion online in Switzerland. And we see that half of our sample is buying fashion at least once a month online. We also see that the Swiss French consumers are more frequently buying. So in this sample, we have 21%, so 1 in 5 consumers who is buying at least weekly. I think that's quite a lot. That's quite often. Now let's talk about cross-border e-commerce, which is also quite an important topic. We see that Swiss consumers are buying, or quite a lot, Swiss consumers are buying fashion online abroad. I think this is definitely visible also in the dominance of Zalando, company that achieved a turnover of 750 million Swiss francs in Switzerland in 2019. Very interesting here is to say who's not buying fashion abroad online. So these are the oldest group in our sample, so 56 to 65 years. Only 40% in our sample there is buying abroad. Apart from this group, across all the groups that we have specified here, a majority of them is actually buying fashion online abroad. So why are people buying on foreign online shops? There are two main reasons that we can identify here. About half of the sample is looking for better prices. The other half is either looking for a greater assortment or for more exclusive products that are not available in Switzerland. Now let's talk about new service models. Here in this case, omnichannel retailing. Here we see that there's quite a good foundation in Switzerland. So there's half of our sample is already kind of using omnichannel. Nevertheless, there are 21% who only rarely use it. Also across the groups, we also see that it's that almost all of the groups in our sample are quite familiar with the use of it. So meaning that this is actually a great foundation for brands and for merchants to, as consumers are coming into physical stores, to have cross-selling by doing recommendations or giving recommendations on products that are currently not available in stores but are available online. And this definitely helps, or could help, merchants and brands to further develop the revenue per customer. The biggest topic, I guess, in 2019 was sustainability in the fashion industry, but also in general. There was a lot of discussion around the environment. Now with the COVID-19 situation, it turned a little bit into the back. People are, or the media is a lot focusing on that topic, and the public is focusing on the discussion how we can actually solve that situation or what the new normal is like. Nevertheless, I think sustainability will come back on the maps as soon as COVID-19 is getting into the background, and it's important to talk about it. So here we ask how consumers, how important it is for them when buying fashion online. And we said we see here that actually half of our sample is giving a meaning to it when doing fashion purchases. On the other hand, we see another half of it that is saying it's not important for the purchases. So we see that in Switzerland, it's actually quite a good and well-educated foundation around sustainability. And here we took a look on what consumers think when considering sustainability in the fashion industry, and they mostly think about the production location and the origin of raw materials. So they mind a lot where their product comes from, and both of those factors are more important than actually the brand or the reputation of the brand itself. So Swiss consumers seem to be well educated, and it's not only like the brand image that is convincing them, but really like the proof of where the product comes from. So we are already at the end of this short presentation. Just to very quickly wrap it up, we've seen that Swiss consumers are buying fashion online quite regularly. They're familiar with it, and they have moderate expenditures ranging between 26 and 100 Swiss francs on average. We also seen here that Swiss French consumers have, or there's a group of Swiss French consumers that has a greater willingness to spend compared to Swiss Germans. We also seen that buying from abroad is quite frequently or quite done by quite many Swiss consumers. This also explains the dominant role of Zalando in the Swiss fashion market with a turnover of 750 million Swiss francs. Also saying that Switzerland for Zalando is the market where they have the highest revenue per customer. Then we also seen here that Swiss consumers are familiar with the use of omnichannel retailing, which actually gives them the great foundation of cross-selling activities and further developing the revenue per customer. And sustainability is an important topic in Switzerland, so Swiss consumers are aware of it, they pay attention to it, and they are also quite critical about the topic. Now, this study that I just presented to you was published last month on our observatory portal. I would definitely recommend to you to check it out. Also check out the portal and the other studies that are there. If you are a Netcomm Swiss member, you can access all of our research for free by using your company-specific code. The full report includes further questions about, or includes further details around how frequently Swiss consumers, each single group is actually buying online, how much each single group is spending, what kind of devices they use, also with a lot of details Then we look at the main pain points that Swiss consumers are perceiving when they are buying fashion items online. And we also take a look at the openness of Swiss consumers for subscription services for fashion items. Now let's quickly close with the Q&A session. So I'm seeing that I'm having actually a few questions here. So the first one is, how is COVID-19 affecting the fashion industry currently in Switzerland? Definitely a very important question. I've seen recently a data chart that was indexing the turnover of March 2020 and was comparing it with March 2019. The data is from GfK and is concerning the largest Swiss online shops for fashion. And there you can see that for those online shops, March 2020 sales were down by 7.2% compared to previous year. Nevertheless, I quite recently also checked Google Analytics, and I've seen that for the major fashion online shops in Switzerland, like Zalando, like Jelmoli, and others, the frequency of search requests is actually increasing in the last 2 weeks. Nevertheless, it's on a lower level than usually, but it's a little bit, the interest is coming back again. This could be related actually to the fact that the Swiss government announced a way out of the lockdown situation. It could also be related to the very nice weather that we are enjoying in Switzerland recently, so that consumers are actually looking also for more suitable fashion items for spring and summer, combined with a prospect for also being able to enjoy more normal activities more frequently, also with very careful measures, actually probably makes them encourage people again to think about fashion more. Nevertheless, fashion is a recreational market for quite a large extent, meaning that consumers are in this time very much focusing more on essentials and on digital entertainment and streaming, and fashion is probably not top of the mind in the current situation. Now, second question I'm seeing is what will be the future of sustainability after COVID-19? Also a very interesting question, quite a complex one. I think as many developing economies are largely depending on manufacturing garments and clothes, it could be that in those industries, governments need to take measures that are actually, unfortunately, increasing polluting activities. That's one side, and that then the amount there could be increasing. That's something that was visible after the financial crisis in 2009, where also during the crisis, air pollution was down a little bit, but afterwards also countries like the US or also China introduced governmental measures that were encouraging polluting activities, unfortunately, and brought back the levels of air pollution to rise. Nevertheless, what's been changing a lot since then in the last 10 years is also the awareness of consumers that this is a very, very important topic. And I think also in this crisis is definitely contributing to making consumers more conscious about their decisions, more conscious about the products they buy. And I really hope that after this crisis, there will be much more pressure on the demand side in order to push really brands to not only talk about sustainability, but to also deliver on it. Okay. At this stage, I would like I would like to close for today. Thank you very much for being with us, for joining us. And if you have any further requests or recommendations for further topics, I'm very happy to exchange a few ideas with you and to be in touch with you. Hope to see you soon. Take care and stay healthy, and looking forward to having you with us again in the future. Thank you very much. Goodbye.